The moment you wake up, an invisible weight drags you down. It lingers in your thoughts, shaping your choices before you even take your first step out of bed. But what if that weight isn't the world, your past, or your failures? What if it's something far more personal? What if it's you? Not who you are, but what you refuse to let go of. The doubts you nurture, the fears you obey, the regrets you obey like a broken record. You don't see it, but you feel it. It tightens around you, limiting what you believe is possible. And the most dangerous part, you've carried it for so long that it feels normal. But today, we're going to expose it. We're going to uncover the invisible chains keeping you trapped. Because the first step to breaking free is realizing you're not as free as you think. Imagine waking up every morning strapping on a backpack and stuffing it with heavy rocks. One for every regret, every failure, every time someone hurts you. Now imagine carrying that weight every single day, everywhere you go. It slows you down, wears you out, and holds you back from moving forward. Yet most people never stop to ask, do I even have to carry this? The truth is, no one forces you to keep adding to the load. No one demands that you cling to the pain of your past. But here you are, struggling under a burden that was never meant to be permanent. And if you don't let it go, it will crush you. The question is, will you keep carrying what's breaking you, or will you finally drop the weight and move forward? It's easy to point fingers, to blame bad luck, unfair circumstances, or people who held you back. But let's be honest, the real weight you carry isn't what happened to you, it's how tightly you hold on to it. Two people can go through the same storm. One comes out stronger, the other stays broken. What makes the difference? It's not the storm, it's how they carry it. The truth is, your biggest battle isn't with the outside world, it's with the limits you've accepted inside yourself, the story you tell yourself about what's possible, the excuses that keep you from taking action. You are not powerless, but until you stop blaming what's around you and start confronting what's inside you, you will stay exactly where you are. Every second spent reliving the past is a second stolen from your future. Think about that. You cannot move forward while looking back. You cannot grow while gripping onto pain. The energy you spend replaying past failures could be spent creating new victories. The time you waste resenting what someone did to you could be used building something greater. But instead, many people chain themselves to a life they no longer want simply because they refuse to let go of the past. What has holding on to anger given you? What has replaying your mistakes done for you? Nothing. And if you don't release it, it will cost you even more. Your future is waiting, but it cannot start until you stop living in what's already gone. Most people walk through life believing they are in control. But are they? If fear makes your decisions, are you in control? If doubt stops you from taking risks, are you in control? If the opinions of others shape how you live, are you in control? The hard truth is, many people are ruled by things they don't even see. And until you confront who's really in charge of your choices, you or your fears, nothing will change. Freedom isn't just about doing what you want. It's about taking back control from the thoughts, habits, and emotions that have been running your life. And once you do, the power shifts. You stop reacting, you start leading. You stop hesitating, you start building. The question is, are you ready to take that power back? The hardest chains to break are the ones you don't realize are there, but now you see them. Now you know what's been holding you back. That's step one. Step two, the willingness to let it go. Not tomorrow, not when you feel ready, right now. Because freedom doesn't wait. It doesn't ask for permission. It begins the moment you decide that you are done being controlled by the past, done making decisions out of fear, done carrying weight that isn't yours to hold. So ask yourself right now, are you ready to drop the chains? Because if you are, what happens next will change everything. Most people claim they want change, but deep down they fear losing the very things that keep them stuck. So let's get real for a second. What are you gripping so tightly? Is it a relationship that no longer serves you? A version of yourself that you've outgrown? A past mistake that still defines you? What do you think will happen if you let go? If you stopped fighting to keep that toxic friendship? If you stopped clinging to that job you hate? If you finally admitted that the life you're holding on to isn't the one you wanted, then what? See, we like to pretend we're just being careful, that we're playing it smart by staying where it's safe. But is it really safety, or is it just fear in disguise? Fear of change, fear of the unknown, fear of admitting that what you have isn't what you actually want. You can lie to the world, but you can't lie to yourself. Deep down, you already know what needs to change, but knowing isn't enough. The real question is, are you brave enough to do something about it? We convince ourselves that holding on keeps us in control. We tell ourselves that if we just grip a little tighter, things will magically get better. That if we hold on to the past long enough, it'll somehow rewrite itself. But let's be honest, has that ever worked? We hold on to people who no longer belong in our lives, thinking we can't survive without them. We replay old failures, thinking if we just obsess over them enough, we can change the outcome. We carry resentment like it's protecting us when all it's really doing is poisoning us. The truth, holding on doesn't make you strong. It makes you a prisoner of your own fear, a prisoner of a past you can't change. It's time to see holding on for what it really is, not security, but self-sabotage. The longer you grip, the deeper you sink, and until you're willing to loosen your grip, you will never be free. Holding on to pain is like gripping a rope that's burning your hands, yet you refuse to let go because you're afraid of falling. You tell yourself the pain is worth it, that somehow it's better than the unknown. But let me ask you, how long are you willing to let that rope tear into your skin? How much more of your life are you willing to sacrifice just to avoid facing what's next? Some people hold on to past mistakes because they think it's the only proof they ever tried. Some cling to toxic relationships because they're more afraid of being alone than being unhappy. Some refuse to forgive because they believe their pain gives them power. But what if you're wrong? What if the real power isn't in gripping harder, but in finally letting go? Because here's the truth, your hands are already burning, your wounds are already deep. You're not protecting yourself by holding on, you're only making the pain last longer. Is it an old relationship that ended years ago? A failure that still defines you? A grudge that poisons your mind every day? Stop for a second. Look at what you refuse to release. Ask yourself, what purpose does this serve? Is it healing you or is it hurting you? Is it making you stronger or is it keeping you stuck? Because attachment is like poison. The longer it sits in your system, the more damage it does. Some of you are still carrying the weight of something that happened years ago, dragging it with you into every relationship, every decision, every moment of your life. But let me tell you something, your past isn't holding on to you. You are holding on to it. And until you decide to release it, you will never move forward. You've been told that strength means holding on, that power comes from refusing to let go. But the truth? Real power is knowing when to release. Think about it. What's stronger, the person who stays in a situation that's breaking them, or the one who has the courage to walk away? The person who keeps fighting for something that's already gone, or the one who knows when to move on? Letting go doesn't mean giving up. It doesn't mean you're weak. It means you understand that not everything is meant to stay. It means you trust yourself enough to step into the unknown. You don't need to keep proving your strength by holding on to pain. The real test is whether you're brave enough to free yourself from it, and that choice, that power, it's in your hands right now. Let's be clear. Every single day you refuse to release the past, you are choosing to lose. Not just in some distant, abstract way, but in real, measurable ways that you feel every single day. You're losing time you will never get back. Every minute spent obsessing over what's already happened is a minute stolen from what could be. You're losing energy. The weight of what you carry is dragging you down, whether you realize it or not. Ever wonder why you feel drained, frustrated, or stuck? It's because you're pouring all your strength into holding on instead of moving forward. And worst of all, you're losing opportunity. While you're clinging to the past, new chances are passing you by. The doors are open, but you're too distracted to step through them. This isn't just about what happened to you, it's about what you're allowing to keep happening. Every day you choose to hold on, you are making a decision. And that decision is costing you more than you realize. You say you want change, you say you want growth, but let's be real. Growth means movement, and movement is impossible when you're dragging dead weight. Holding on to past pain, failures, or relationships isn't just slowing you down. It's keeping you completely stuck. You're walking in circles, repeating the same mistakes, having the same arguments, feeling the same frustration over and over again. And you wonder why nothing changes? It's because you're still gripping on to what's already gone. You're trying to move forward while carrying baggage that belongs to a version of you that no longer exists. Imagine trying to run while holding a 100-pound backpack. You wouldn't get far, would you? That's exactly what you're doing to yourself. Every single day you refuse to let go. You cannot create a new future while living in an old story. And until you release the past, you will remain exactly where you are, stuck, frustrated, and wondering why life never seems to move forward. You wonder why you feel exhausted all the time, why you wake up with no motivation, why everything feels heavy, why even the simplest things feel like a struggle. It's not life. It's the burdens you refuse to put down. When you hold on to pain, regret, and resentment, it doesn't just sit there. It drains you. It seeps into your thoughts, your emotions, your decisions. It controls the way you see the world. You think you're just carrying memories, but in reality you're carrying chains, and every single day they pull you down a little more. Look around. How much of your energy is being spent on things that no longer serve you? How much of your strength is being wasted on thoughts of people who don't even think about you? This is the reality. Until you decide to let go, you will never feel free. The weight you're carrying isn't yours to bear anymore. But the only way to be free is to make the choice to release it. Opportunities don't just disappear, you lose them because you're too busy holding on to things that should have been left behind. Imagine standing in front of an open door, a brand new chance waiting for you, but instead of walking through, you're staring at the one that closed behind you. You're standing there frozen, wishing that old door would open again. And while you wait, that new door, the one that could change everything, slowly shuts too. This is what happens when you refuse to let go. You miss out. Not because life isn't offering you opportunities, but because you're too distracted by what's already gone to see what's right in front of you. Your hands are full of old problems, past pain, past failures. And because of that, you have no space to grab onto the future that's waiting for you. So ask yourself, what have you already missed because you were too focused on what was behind you? And more importantly, how much longer are you willing to let that pattern continue? If not now, then when? How much more will you allow the past to steal from you? Because here's the truth, every day you hold on, you are actively choosing to lose something new. More time, more energy, more chances. So how much more are you willing to sacrifice? Will you keep replaying the same pain, the same disappointments, the same regrets for another year, another 5 years, another decade? Or will you finally make the decision to stop, to put down what's been weighing you down, to step forward, to finally claim the future you've been too afraid to reach for? Letting go isn't easy, but neither is staying stuck. The difference, one path leads to freedom and the other leads to more of the same. The choice is yours. But make no mistake, the longer you wait, the more you lose. And sooner or later you'll have to ask yourself, was it really worth it? Letting go doesn't start with action, it starts with truth. The hardest part of moving on isn't forgetting, and it isn't forcing yourself to feel okay. It's admitting that you can't change what's already happened. How much time have you spent replaying the past, rewriting history in your mind, thinking, if only I had done this differently, if only they had chosen me, if only I had another chance. But let me ask you, has a single one of those thoughts ever changed the outcome? No, because reality doesn't bend to regret. What's done is done. The past isn't a problem to fix, it's a fact to accept. This is where most people get stuck. They spend years living in a version of life that doesn't exist anymore. But holding on to what could have been only blinds you to what still can be. Acceptance isn't giving up, it's taking back control. It's standing up and saying, this happened, but it does not own me. This is where I am, but it is not where I will stay. And until you make peace with where you are, you will never move forward. Most people think forgiveness is about the other person. It's not. It has never been about them. It has always been about you. Holding on to resentment is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to suffer. You carry that anger, that pain, that disappointment, thinking it's some form of justice. But tell me, who is it really hurting? Forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting. It doesn't mean excusing what happened. It doesn't mean pretending it didn't hurt. It simply means you're done letting the past control your future. Because as long as you hold on to resentment, the person who hurt you is still winning. They may have moved on, but you're still carrying the weight of what they did. It's time to take your power back. Letting go of that anger isn't weakness, it's strength. It's a decision to say, I refuse to let this pain define me any longer. Because forgiveness isn't about setting them free, it's about setting yourself free. Pain doesn't have to be a prison, it can be a teacher. The most successful people aren't the ones who had perfect lives, they're the ones who learned how to use their past as fuel. They didn't let their failures break them, they let their failures build them. Think about the hardest moment of your life, the one that left you feeling lost, broken, defeated. Now ask yourself, did you survive it? Yes. And that means it didn't destroy you, it shaped you. Pain can either hold you back or push you forward. It can either be the excuse for why you never try again or the reason you fight harder. The choice is yours. Your past is only your enemy if you let it be. Instead of asking, why did this happen to me? Start asking, what can I learn from this? How can this make me stronger? Because the people who rise aren't the ones who avoid hardship. They're the ones who refuse to let it define them. A plane can't take off unless it releases extra weight. Neither can you. Right now, you're carrying things that were never meant to stay with you forever. Regret, guilt, fear, pain. But tell me, how much longer are you willing to carry it? Close your eyes for a moment and imagine this. You're standing in an open field. In your hands, you're holding everything you've been carrying for years. The past mistakes, the heartbreak, the things you wish you could change. They're heavy, aren't they? You feel their weight pressing down on you. Now imagine letting go. Imagine opening your hands and watching it all fall to the ground. Feel that weight leave your body. Feel how much lighter you become. This is what freedom feels like. Letting go isn't just something you think about. It's something you do. It's a decision. A moment where you say, I am done carrying what no longer serves me. And the moment you do that, the moment you finally release it, that's when you rise. That's when you take off. That's when your future truly begins. People think letting go is weakness. That if you walk away from a relationship, you failed. That if you stop chasing an old dream, you gave up. That if you release the past, you're somehow losing something. But let me tell you something. True strength isn't found in clinging. It's found in knowing when to let go. Holding on doesn't make you strong, it makes you tired. It keeps you locked in a battle with something that no longer serves you. The real power comes from surrender. Not surrendering to something, but surrendering what's holding you back. Think about it. The strongest people aren't the ones who refuse to change. They're the ones who know when to move forward. When to release what's no longer meant for them. When to say, this is not my fight anymore. Letting go isn't giving up. It's stepping into a new level of strength. It's trusting that you don't need to cling to something that's already gone. It's realizing that what's ahead is far greater than anything you're leaving behind. And the sooner you accept that, the stronger you become. No one rises while gripping dead weight. Every successful person, every single one had to release something before they could grow. Look at the people who have built incredible lives. They didn't just add more to their plate, they let go of what wasn't serving them. They dropped the self-doubt. They released toxic relationships. They walked away from the version of themselves that wasn't built for the future they wanted. Oprah Winfrey let go of the idea that she had to fit into someone else's expectations. Steve Jobs was forced out of his own company before he built it into something even greater. Michael Jordan didn't just work harder, he let go of distractions, excuses, and anything that slowed him down. Because success isn't just about what you gain, it's about what you're willing to release. What are you still holding on to that's keeping you from your next level? What fear, what habit, what belief is stopping you from stepping into your greatness? The ones who rise aren't the ones who refuse to change. They're the ones who know that letting go is the first step to reaching something bigger. Picture this. You're gripping something so tightly that your hand is locked, frozen. You want something new, but your hand is full. You can't take in anything because you refuse to let go of what's already there. That's exactly what happens in life. You say you want better, you want success, peace, love, opportunity, but you're still gripping your past, your pain, your fear. And as long as your hands are full, there's no space for anything new to enter. A clenched fist can't receive, but the moment you open your hand, when you finally release what no longer serves you, you create space for something greater. That job you lost, maybe it was clearing the way for something better. That relationship that ended, maybe it was teaching you what you truly deserve. That failure you can't stop thinking about, maybe it was preparing you for a bigger win. But you'll never know until you let go. Until you stop gripping what's already gone and make space for what's coming next. Because the moment you open your hands, you open your life.